All right, here we go. So, in my movie, The Talking Dog Man. Hey guys, welcome back to the Unfiltered Gamer Kickstarter card game review. Today's game up on the tabletop is called WTF, or What the Film. What the Film is for 3 to 8 players, about 12 and up, and takes about a half an hour to play the game. It's made by Lethal Chicken Games, and it is a game in which you're going to try and make a film. How will you be doing that? Well, you're going to get a hand of 7 basic cards that will come with plots, actors, as well as a setting. And you're going to choose 3 of these cards, 1 of each in your hand of 7 cards. You'll also be dealt an additional card, and these are called industry cards that will either be played now or they can be chosen to be played later unless they say play immediately. Those will change the way the game works. But in specific, you're going to choose 1 of each of the 3 individual cards, and then you're going to make a movie as best as you can. You'll have a certain limited amount of time to make that movie and do the best to include or incorporate all of the cards that you are using to play. After you've done that, everybody else will also additionally make their own stories going around the table. Finally, after everybody has done that, whether the timer runs out or not, they're going to finish their movie, and we are all going to vote with our chips. You can't vote for yourself, so you got to vote for somebody else. So everybody takes part in the judging. You're going to give it to the person you think was the best story, not including your own, and whoever has the most of these at the end, or if there's a tie, is going to win points based on the cards they played that were compiled into their story. You can win up to a total of 3 points per round, and ties will also grant both players the victory points. Everybody else gets nothing. Then you're going to draw up to your hand of 7 cards, always to make sure you have an industry card. All right, let me go and show you this in the game. So here's what you get in What the Film. As you can see, there are 2 separate decks. This is such a big deck that I've separated into 2 stacks, but it's a singular deck that is going to include hot sets, actors, and plots. This deck over here is industry cards, in which they're going to have the play immediately symbol or play and discard symbol. Depending on when you can play the cards, it will kind of give you that idea. The director is going to be the first player, and everybody's going to get 1 of these chits here that denotes how many players can play the game, although you could probably play more players if you wanted to. You're going to start with 7 cards from this deck here and 1 card from this deck here, and as you're going to play cards, you're always going to draw back to 7 here and always an additional 1 card from the industry deck. It's also going to come with a box as well as the rules to play the game.
Alright, so my movie is about a secret agent that's been working in the military and became a secret agent most of his life, and he is stuck in traffic one day and he's trying to hide his snacks from his imaginary friends. Well, he started to become paranoid from being followed around all of his life and following others around, watching his back all the time, and all of a sudden, things started disappearing from him. So he started to believe it was all his imaginary friend's fault and started blaming him for everything. So follow the secret agent in his life.
Pretty solid, and in time too. It's way better than my story. I'm glad I wasn't filming my story because mine was really bad.
Okay, so my story starts in high school, and this girl has been aspiring to be an actor her whole life, but the only problem is she never gets there. Fast forward to the end of her life, and she's an old lady, and she dies, unfortunately. So, and at this point she's a grandma. But the coolest part about this is she's stuck inside of a coffin, okay? But if she can get her body out of this coffin, then maybe she will be accepted into a school for vampires.
Whoa, so good. All right, here we go. So, in my movie, The Talking Dog Man, is a guy basically is able to talk to animals, and he meets one talking dog that tells him to commit a bunch of crimes. And because he's committing all these crimes, he ends up going to jail, but not just any jail, he ends up in a Mexican prison. And the reason why he ended up in prison, even though he basically was telling the courts and all that he was talking to this dog, was because he was saying, well, he was basically a sane guy, but he was classified as an insane person, but he was still put into a prison nonetheless. And the entire objective of the movie was for him to get put into the insane asylum.
Okay, my movie is called Cheese Game. We open up on a cheese festival. It all seems happy-go-lucky, and families having fun. We follow along a game show host. However, he's not there for just any ordinary game at the cheese festival. No, there is a dark underground side to the cheese festival where players have to compete in a fight-to-the-death tournament to earn a huge cash prize. This is the real cheese game.
So
Michael.
cheesy.
Not cheesy at all, right?
Industry.
Okay.
I warned you that I'd sue you. Force an opponent to discard their entire hand and be forbidden from playing or voting this round.
Ooh.
Grant.
Oh,
Poor Grant.
Wow.
mine was good.
And right,
3, 2, 1, and give your chip to somebody.
All right. Let me think of all the different games there are, or the different, all the different movies there are here.
Great game.
I like the sequel. That's a good idea. All right.
Pull the same actor.
Remember, take your chip and then place it on the card you think is the best. 3, 2, 1. I got one again. But Ashley's vote was not good enough, and neither was Mikey. Oh no, Callie,
No,
you
I
voted
voted on
for
Callie.
Ashley, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Congratulations, you are the winner.
Yay.
Okay, so I began the game, and I've got my 7 cards from the plot deck, and then I've got my 1 industry card from the industry deck. Now I'm going to go ahead and choose 3 cards, and it has to be 3 separate cards, a plot, an actor, and a hot set. If you don't have one of those categories, you can either search the deck from the top until you get it, or if there's a discard, you can search the discard, which means you could potentially use the same type of plot or actor, but it's always going to be a different story based on how you tell it. Then I've also got my industry card, and this one says play immediately, and it says I have missed the final draft of a deadline, and I have to lose a plot card from my hand before telling the story. So I'm going to lose this and put it in the discard pile, as well as the industry card. Now I've got my 3 cards, and I have a certain amount of time to try and make up a story. Everyone else is going to do the same thing at the same time. Then, the first player, being the director, is going to start off by telling his story, and there's a specific amount of time. I think it's less than 30 seconds. That's how quick it is. And I'll have to go, okay, I've got middle of a blizzard, I've got the plot, which is I have to wake up from a deep sleep to find out I have no arms and legs, and I'm using a germophobic mechanic in my story. And in which case, I'll try and tell a story that indicates these 3 things. If the time stops before I can indicate every single one of these plot devices, then I'm not going to be able to use that card for scoring later. And you want to do that, so you have to come up with a story really quick on the fly almost. And talk about these in great detail, so that way people are going to get into your story and be interested. You can make it funny, you can make it serious, but the main idea is to get people to pick you at the end of the round. After you've done your story, you'll set your cards down face up so that they know that you've used those cards in your story, and allow it to go clockwise in the same time-honored tradition until it gets back to you again. After that is going to happen, you'll take one of these guys here, and you're going to pass it to the player you think did the best job at the story. And obviously, if they did do the best job, they're going to have the most of those chips and score that many points. Then, once again, draw their hand back. There's a plethora of cards in the game. There's tons of them with tons of different artworks. You got storage closets, a trunk of a car is one of the sets, an actor is a crime boss or a cosplayer, and then you've got another one, an airplane bathroom with a plot that says you have to survive against bandits in a post-apocalyptic world. Think about an airplane bathroom in a post-apocalyptic world surviving from bandits. That'd be a very difficult story to tell, along with maybe a cosplayer, which is involved in the story. How does that add up? I don't know, but you'll have to figure that out yourself. So that is the basic idea of how to play What the Film. There's a ton of great stuff in here and a plethora of good industry cards. And I'm going to go ahead and get into a little bit more of this in my review, which is going to happen right now. Okay, so what am I going to say about What the Film? Well, first of all, this is a basic judging game. Like a lot of other ones, they represent stuff like apples to apples, and it's kind of becoming a more stapled genre in this industry. I've played a couple film games before that have this kind of judge based on how well you make a film, but this one is by far the most dynamic and the most availability to choose different storylines, and it's giving you a lot more options when you're looking through your hand to make a story. It also gives you a plethora of images, which is pretty cool as well. But the biggest thing and the most interesting thing about this game is definitely going to be the industry cards that affect you in certain ways. Let me go ahead and show you one example based on the time I played not too long ago. Alright, I'm ready.
Alright, I am going to play an industry card. Misery loves company. Force an opponent to turn their next movie into a tragedy.
And go.
The Wooden Warrior. This is about a samurai who in modern times now has built many tree houses around the world where he saves lives. He smuggles people during wartime in these tree houses, and what he's doing is he goes from different camps of people that are in trouble or whatever. He brings them from one tree house and he starts swinging them across the ropes. Unfortunately, at the end of the movie, the samurai swings with his last They had love from one tree to another, and the rope breaks and crash, and they fall to their death. The wooden warrior, a tragedy. So as you see, you can use industry cards in all different ways and manners in this game, and they can mess your opponents up or help you or hurt you very badly. This one here is called Casting Callback. Your days of eating ramen may soon end. You just got your first callback. Draw 3 cards from the main deck. This is going to give you more availability to make different stories, and they kind of can conjoin better. Instead of having a cowboy that has to deal with a sci-fi theme, now you might end up getting a Western chorale of some sort. You've got friends in high places. I'm the +1, and at the end of the voting phase, your movie always also wins automatically. That's pretty awesome, right? Break a leg. Literally. The lead actor broke his leg while training for a kickboxing role. You lose 1 actor card. So that some of these cards are going to make you lose specific cards in your hand. So when you want to tell a story based on one of the actors, now you've lost that only 1 actor you have, and you have to pull 1 from the deck or something like that. It can be kind of daunting, especially because the game ends very quickly. You also have other cards like backstabbing people, as well as changing the genre like you saw. Changing a genre can really mess you up because you have to do it just before you tell a story, and it can kind of give you a little bit of a instant switcheroo. The game is always going to keep you on your feet, so if you like that aspect, you're definitely going to enjoy this game. If you're a movie buff and you like making your own films, or you're a writer, this is also going to be a game that's going to be for you. There's a plethora of different cards, and it gives you a wide array of having kind of like your own imagination take place in this game, all while at the same time messing with your friends. And there's a bit of comedy in the game, provided you're with the right people, and there is a bit of seriousness, provided you're also with people that are more interested in telling you a full-blown story with the best possibility of combinations they can. Overall, though, the game is very fun. I enjoyed it profusely, and all of my friends also had a good time as well. I think it's one of those games where you're going to see it and you're going to kind of know if you're interested in the style of game or not, and it comes down to whether or not this one's better than the other ones. And in my opinion, this is definitely better than a lot of the other games I have played that have the judging aspect, especially the ones involving film, because it has so much more variety. And not only that, the action cards add so much more to the game as well.
And boys were caught sneaking into your closed set. Lose 1 set card.
Studio buys their script. Turn in your waiter apron. Draw from the main deck until you get a plot card. Keep every card drawn in your hand until the end phase.
Okay, what would your play immediately say?
Your opponent cut corners on set construction, causing the set to collapse. Force an opponent to discard 1 set card. Grant.
Rude.
Yeah.
So, should you get the game? I definitely think so, but that'll be up to you. Alright guys, thanks for watching another Unfiltered Gamer Kickstarter card game review. If you like this video, go and check out our other videos here on YouTube. Like, subscribe, and comment. All this help, and we greatly appreciate it. As well as checking out What the Film! It's a really cool little judging game that has a lot of extra additional stuff. Specifically, these action cards are so cool. I think you're going to like them too. They just keep you on your toes. Also, go ahead and check out our website, unfilteredgamer.com. We've got tons of blog posts, giveaways, Kickstarter lists, and more. As well as checking out our friends, everythingboardgames.com, the Giveaway Geek, and Ferdinand, the Cardboard Stacker. Alright guys, that's all I got for this one. And as always, I appreciate it, and I look forward to seeing you guys next time.
Okay, so my movie actually starts at the beginning of this little kid's life, and you kind of see progression, and all of a sudden it kind of like goes really dark, and you see this man kills both of his parents. You soon find out that that's actually the president, well actually it's the Prime Minister of London, okay? And this is way back in the old times, so he's actually a Viking. And the Viking needs to assassinate that president in order to get revenge for his parents, but he keeps falling asleep. He has narcolepsy.
You can still tell your story. Oh, you can't. You're doomed. Wow, you're mean.
I had to use it on somebody.
That's true. All right, Mikey, can you do better?
My movie takes place at a retirement home. Not any retirement home, but it's a follow-up to my last movie with a secret agent. This is later on in his life, after he's already fixed his mental issues. But he hates the next-door neighbor, but he's secretly falling in love with her. So now we're following the trials of his life in this retirement home with all of his past experience, trying to woo his next-door neighbor. What can he do?
And with plenty time to spare. Pretty good one. Pretty good.
Wow.
Who's not yourself?
I know my story's the best, so I'm expecting you all to pick me. 3, 2, 1. Was that for me?
Yes.
Yes!